Good evening, welcome to the planning board meeting for September 20th, 2016. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes. Down. You know, good with that. You saw what happened.
No, I didn't.
When they're open, you got a flipper on the screen.
Oh, I never noticed.
Roll call, Tom Young, Chair.
Matt Shoemaker, Vice Chair.
Russell Blanchett, member.
Kimberly Queenan, member.
Dave Samuel, member.
Absent this evening is Michael Croto, and alternate Tyler Perrin. Okay. Any public input? Nope. Okay, Jen, site plan?
All right. The really exciting one first. So the drafted amendments to the site plan review regulations are exactly what we talked about previously, where references to non-residential have been struck to clarify that multifamily is addressed in the site plan review regulations. These were just some lingering spots where that was missed when we went through and updated all of the design guideline elements. Predominantly, the changes fall within the lighting section. There are a couple spots, well, one of the lighting definitions at the beginning, the submission requirements, I believe, towards the end. Yeah, item V, there was one lingering reference to non-residential, and then it goes into lighting. We did pull in a couple examples of residential, more residential styled lighting as well. For the images, the reference in doing that, we realized that the web link for the source for those images is no longer current, so that is marked up. Let's see, what else do we have? And then I think at the very end, there was one or two references in telecommunications, and similarly in the submission requirements and separability sections. So bottom line, these were pretty much so just housekeeping. Question is, did we miss anything? Are there any other housekeeping items?
I just have
Okay.
one
Yeah.
just my own clarification on page 2 for 163 external lighting. Again, it's probably correct, but I just want to make sure I'm seeing it consistently. 163.2 applicability. The second sentence says it has a non-residential and multifamily in there.
Yes.
So is that okay as that, or should it be?
I think so, because then it just clarifies that it's both, and then it just doesn't reference the type of development.
Residential and non-residential and multifamily? I just wasn't sure, that's all. Because everything else we seem to be taking out.
Yeah.
Non-residential, to keep it both residential and, but here it says non-residential.
Yeah, I guess the other option would be, I guess it's saying it shall apply to all outdoor lighting. It felt like developments needed something before it. So, we could do, shall apply to all outdoor lighting in developments in the town of Litchfield requiring site plan approval. I guess it would work if we just struck non-residential and multifamily. I don't know if it matters.
Would read well.
Okay.
But by striking that, do we accidentally sweep up single-family residential as well as?
No, because single family is not applicable to site plan review.
Good, thank you.
Yep. I mean, basically, site plan review is applicable to all multifamily and non-residential. So, I don't know that it adds anything by having it spelled out.
Good. Thank you.
Cross that out.
Telecommunications, does that cover your antennas?
No, there's some,
That's the other part of it.
yeah, there's a
Yeah.
separate conversation
Just
we
want-
had around
just
that.
wanna make sure.
Yeah.
I thought so, but I wanna make sure. But it does. Go to page 6. Ninjas Towers.
Any other comments, edits, suggestions? So I guess at this point, I would say just hold on to it for now. Well, for any of the zoning items, we'll need to schedule hearings in December to move those forward to town meetings, so it's easier just to hold.
One big public hearing.
One big-
That encompasses everything, including this.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And that, the site plan regulation changes, you can adopt right then and there at the hearing, and they're done. They don't need to go to town meeting.
Between now and then, if anything does occur to us that we want to change or add, we have the luxury of doing that if we don't adopt it tonight.
Correct. Well, you can't do it tonight anyways, because you'd
We
have to
need a
post a
public-
hearing. Yeah. Yes, we'd be a little short on our 10 days' notice.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I'm just gonna make a note, there's a change on page 2, and then hold for hearing. Next item? Next item?
Next item, go ahead.
I'm gonna pass it to Cassie to
Yes,
take.
go ahead.
For the accessory dwelling unit changes, all of it was what we went over in the last meeting.
Jen, why don't you move the mic to the other side?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
On page 1, I just added in accessory dwelling units. On the second page, I added in the definition to accessory dwelling units. And then added in, that was pretty much it on that one.
Yeah, the remainder is the deletions.
Yeah.
For the deletions, I don't know if I was here when you guys discussed the Senate bill. I'm assuming it relates to discrimination against, we're striking family member, family caregiver. So it's some sort of discrimination based on familial relationship. Is that correct? Do you recall?
So if we're getting into kind of the, lights just flickered out there. So if we're getting into the history and the intent of the bill, yes, most likely discrimination based on familial status was part of the rationale for why you cannot limit accessory dwelling units to blood relations. That was part of what came out in Senate Bill 146, although that wasn't stated directly, that discrimination was the...
Oh, this was a while ago, wasn't it, that we talked about?
Yeah, so, yeah. This was a bill that was passed this spring, but it was carried over from the previous session. So it passed early in the session, so we knew kind of early on that this was coming down, and we looked at it a few meetings ago, what the bill stated and what it meant for Litchfield's regulation.
So, and again, we probably already discussed this, but I don't have any recollection, so. In striking non-rental housing, are we opening this, is this gonna now open this up to, well, you can't limit it to family relationships, so I met this really nice guy at the grocery store that needed a place to live, and he can rent space for me, or is...
You want to take? You can take a guess.
In Senate Bill 146.
That was a mean one to throw at you, I'm sorry.
Do you want to take that?
No pressure if you don't know the answer to it, because I haven't
So-
reviewed the Senate bill.
Right, so you know what, I want to remember, you've got the bill in front of you. Can't require an accessory dwelling unit may be deemed a unit of workforce housing for the purposes of satisfying the municipality's obligation. So, and it says if it meets the criteria, et cetera, for rental units. So what the statute is saying is it may. I suppose you could limit it, or you could say it can't be rental, but then if you have an accessory dwelling unit, who's gonna live in it other than a family member that wouldn't be paying rent?
But you can charge rent, correct?
Caregiver?
Caregiver.
Someone who's living there and exchanging services in kind.
Yeah, but so is your point in saying that you're inadvertently violating the intent of the bill by saying that you can't accept rent?
I think it might be considered subverting the intent of the legislation. If you say you can't rent. Because the whole point of the bill was to remove limitations.
Yeah, but it's removing the limitation on and I think I'm starting to remember this now. So I have an aunt who
Yep.
is not blood related to me, but she's a family friend that I consider an aunt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So based on those prior definitions, she wouldn't be able to live with me. But
Right.
that's someone that wouldn't necessarily pay rent versus someone who's
True.
someone you meet at the grocery store that's literally looking for an apartment and you're like, oh, guess what? You can come live in my garage.
So I think the intent was to allow the guy you meet at the grocery store to live in your garage.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I'm gonna take a quick look.
See, I feel like and I mean, I shouldn't, this is pure speculation because I have not read the Senate bill, but my guess is it's, with the ever evolving change in how familial units are defined and what sort of, relationships are valued, I think that it would probably be intended to not limit the potential relationships, but I don't know that the intent would be to go as far as to permit just indiscriminate rentals.
I don't know that it's.
Well, what I had read out of the bill was that they wanted to open up more rental units or more units of housing. So that by taking this out of being a family member, they're opening up more units of housing that are available in the area.
And they're letting you count it as workforce housing, which is a
Yeah.
big plus.
Which is what they've been pushing for years.
Right.
Sorry, I'm looking for draft of
Also
something
allowing
that was
two-
just.
Well, I guess the follow-up question to what my point even was is, does it matter? So if it doesn't matter, then we don't need to go any further with the inquiry.
Thought when we talked about this bill, it was to try to help somebody for caregiving for parents.
Yeah.
Or if children can't find jobs and they're moving back home.
That was one of the
Wasn't
reasons.
that the other
but
intent?
That was the other intent.
Which I don't know if there'd be rent involved, or
Right.
whatever services of mowing the grass, what I'd like to do.
Yeah, I mean, I
know
guess.
that's not the legal intent of the money.
There's probably relatives you'd want rent from too.
Huh?
There's probably relatives you'd want rent from.
I just thought that's how it was kind of
Yeah.
pitched to us a little bit.
I think a lot of it was for workforce housing.
Because what if you have a large house and you're only one person and you wanna rent out part of it so you can afford to stay in the house?
Without creating an ADU. This is about creating an ADU.
Well, you could
Right.
still create an ADU,
Okay, found it.
because you don't have to be family any longer.
All right, so the municipal association just finished do's and don'ts.
So the law also prohibits municipalities from imposing certain other conditions, such as requiring a familial relationship between the owner and the principal dwelling and the occupants of the ADU, limiting size to under 750 square feet, or limiting ADUs to one bedroom or less. So the SB is what's forcing the familial striking
Mm-hmm.
here, but it doesn't go into detail as to explaining why.
Yeah.
I didn't pull SB 146, I simply pulled your highlights of it.
I think my understanding, though, with the rent piece is administratively, it's very difficult to track and enforce.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, obviously,
Is part
you
of
can
it.
regulate anything, but enforcing it's another. I guess my thought process behind that is, are we like creating a subset of housing that's going to be like a, you know,
See if this will let me search for a word.
I don't know how I want to put this. So I'm just not going
It's
to.
still the single number on the street address, right?
Right.
It's still considered one house, right?
And you can only have one ADU per building.
Yeah.
But every building could put up an ADU.
Hmm?
Every
Mhm.
building could apply to put up an ADU, and then we have 2,200 ADUs, one for each single-family resident in town.
And now, let's say that that's rental, right? So, like, let's say you can actually rent that out to someone else. Now you can conceivably double your like, not that everyone's not going to do that, but you could conceivably double your population without having to double your housing, which is also not doubling your tax base, but you're doubling your population.
And it appears as though the
Just hypothetically.
bill calls for an exemption. You don't have to permit anything smaller than 750. Unless you have a local ordinance.
Sorry, Jen, you didn't know you were walking into this one today.
Search on the
Sometimes my brain's
fly.
on, and other times I just am.
I gotta start sketching.
So, you know what, the municipal association doesn't even touch
But
the rental thing. So, to me, that implies you can't necessarily place that limitation. Although they did say that they addressed it from the basis of meeting the minimum requirements to getting you legal. And they didn't go beyond that.
Because we did have one provision in here that said is non-rental housing for
Correct.
the owner, occupant, family members, or family caregiver.
Yeah.
So, I see striking owner, occupant, family members, or family caregiver, but I think that non-rental housing is worth exploring a little bit more.
Well, the thing is, it's moot point because it's a state law.
Yeah, but if the state law is, if the statute's not, if that doesn't violate the statute, so if it's a class of people that you're, looking to not discriminate against, then that's one thing. But are you discriminating against a class of people by saying that you can't collect rent on that? Because ultimately we were saying that before, right?
Reading on the fly.
I mean, is this something that we could, I mean, I have no problem researching it myself. Is it something that we could table or was it something that we had to?
What are you
Time.
opposed to the,
Well, I'm just wondering whether we're striking non-rental housing, and is that really something that we want to be striking?
So if you strike it, that means you're allowing folks
Rental
to
housing.
collect rent.
Right.
Versus if you keep that provision, then you're not allowing someone to collect rent for that accessory dwelling
Right.
unit.
Which then greatly affects how accessory dwelling units are going to be used, right? Like you're not going to look at an accessory dwelling, more often than not, you're not going to look at an accessory dwelling unit as like now does everyone own a multifamily property really, right? Like, how many people say I want to go buy a
No,
multifamily property
It's
because
not
they want to be able to rent?
multifamily.
I understand that.
It
And-
remains single family
No, I
with an
understand that.
accessory unit.
I understand that, but my point is, perception-wise,
Yes. Yes.
most people buy a single-family house and they say, I'm going to live in my single-family house.
Correct.
People that buy a multifamily house say, I'm buying a multifamily house. I may live in one half of it, but I have a rental income in the other side of it. Now, are we basically creating something where people are going to say, I have a single-family house, but I have rental potential because I can do an accessory dwelling unit
And it's still the same street address, it's still 2 Liberty Way, but now it's 2 Liberty Way, apartment A, apartment B.
Yeah.
Right, and there are standards to make it look like a single-family house, like you can't have 2 front doors.
Right, I understand that. I mean, I think my concern in a town like Litchfield is would probably be fairly minimized, right? It's not, population wise very small, but conceivably people could look at this as an opportunity to now bring in renters, especially if they have a decent size, a decent accessory dwelling unit.
But there's a couple
So-
of things you gotta look at that too. Number one, you have a connecting door between the units.
Right.
So that's gonna make people stop and think, do I want somebody here living here with that door between our units?
So let me use an example. My college roommate, who does not live in New Hampshire, both her parents were very sick. She took her basement, put an addition on it. It was a walkout basement, turned it into an apartment, moved her parents into her house so she could be their primary caregiver in her house. Within, a matter of weeks after moving her parents in, her father passed away. And then 2 years later, her mother passed away. She now has an apartment in her house, empty, unused. And to kind of exacerbate, both her parents died in that apartment. Pretty painful for her to go into. So she had this empty space in her house. What do I do with it? She finally, after having empty space for a year, when one of her coworkers, she's a teacher, came in to work and was having problems, the other teacher lived in downtown Atlanta, wasn't a safe neighborhood, had some issues, needed a place to go quick. She said, you know what? I have an empty apartment. Take my apartment. And she pays rent now because it's an accessory dwelling unit. It's connected. So the point is, you do something like this. Someone makes that investment. They put, in an apartment for a family member, and then you lose that family member. What do you do with the space? I mean, can you force someone to convert it back into their home? Do you allow them that opportunity to give that space a new use and a new purpose? That's I think part of the why you kind of back away from the rent side of it. It's hard to, and that's why it's also hard to enforce, because at the time when she built that unit, it was for a family member. There was no rent being collected on that. And then it ceases to be necessary. What do and then how do you, she no longer has to stop by town hall and, sign off every year on her building permit. It's already done, it's already there. So there's no way to monitor who's living in that unit.
You should read the section on findings at the beginning of the bill. Very interesting.
But you also want, that's one of the reasons for the connecting door, is so it can be
It can be converted back.
Can be.
Yes, exactly.
And under our statute, every auxiliary dwelling has to have a permit and be inspected.
Yes.
Is that on the site?
That's,
I'm building.
No,
It's in the bill.
it's in the bill,
Yeah.
146.
but the inspection's right on our site.
What's that?
The inspection part
Yeah.
is right on our site.
Well, the part I want to draw the attention to is, in their findings, this by the general court, increasing the supply of affordable housing without the need for more infrastructure or further land development. So that's pretty good rationale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the other piece is it doesn't say. I mean, that's the thing. The statute doesn't say you can restrict it to being non-rental. So it leaves it kind of in a fuzzy area. It does make reference, though, to areas where you could collect rent and it could be rental. So it's saying it could be or it may be rental, but it doesn't say it must be rental.
Is there a reason why we would want to place a restriction on something being converted to a rental?
To prevent overbuilding it and as a speculative move.
750 square feet is the maximum, and you can control it using zoning ordinance because it calls for that in the bill. It says you can place restrictions based upon zoning ordinance.
I mean, in those general findings, I mean, it does it does talk about demographic trends where adult children wish to give care to their parents. Elderly disabled citizens are in need of independent living space for caregivers. Children, people coming back from college needing, so in all of these instances, it's talking about, it's not talking about like a commercial relationship. You know what I mean?
Read Roman 4.
Increasing the supply of affordable housing. Yeah, but I think that I mean, it doesn't matter. I think that they're viewing that in the context of what they're discussing above, not creating affordable housing for renters. You know what I mean? Like, are we really hoping to use this as a way of creating affordable housing for renters?
They're talking that you can use it as offsetting workforce housing.
Yeah. That was the intent of the bill.
All right.
Maybe deemed a unit of workforce housing for purposes satisfying the municipality's obligation, which I think is really important when the legislature has been pushing workforce housing for years. And there isn't any workforce housing to speak of in the region.
And this was their way of getting it passed through.
So the
Are accessory
liability-
dwelling units like taxed differently than, like, if you have an accessory dwelling unit, how does that impact your taxes?
It adds to livable space,
Yeah.
so it would increase your taxes.
Is there an exemption, any kind of exemption there?
No.
And the liabilities on the on the homeowner, right?
For
Liability.
what? For liability for what?
Trip and falls of whoever moves in or whatever. All of that. Okay.
I don't know what it does to your homeowner's insurance, but.
All right. That's enough on that.
We did discuss the rental versus non-rental when we looked at it before, and I think the general thought was we didn't feel there was enough there in the statute to say you could limit it.
Even if we do try to limit it, how do we enforce it?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's saying you have to keep statistics for every time you issue a permit, right? So,
For the issuance of a permit, which
yeah,
occurs when the
that way
property
you
is transferred.
discontinue
Yeah.
it, unless you set a quota, but I don't know
But
if
that's
that's
just,
legal
no,
or
that's just a
not.
free.
And then there's a deed restriction,
So-
yeah. Certificate of compliance.
Right.
Page back.
It just seems to me, it just seems crazy that you can increase the population in sort of like a roundabout way, right? It's like one thing, like we put in a development of multifamily housing, you're planning for growth in the population in that regard, right? So like, if theoretically speaking, like where could this go is my thought. Like,
Exactly, but the multifamily housing was 1,200 to 1,400 square feet. This is 750 square feet. You're not
I
gonna put a
understand that,
family
but
of
you don't
four.
think that people look at opportunities like this and then tend to exploit them down the road? I mean, people, if it's financially, go into inner cities and you'll see 10 people living in an 800 square foot apartment. You know what I mean? Like
I'll
that,
give
it
you a
does
good-
happen.
I'll give you a good example. Durango, Colorado. My son was living in 400 square feet because there is no workforce housing. The guy that owned the house on the lot was renting his mother's camper to a geologist because there is no workforce housing. And that's really where it's at.
But don't forget, you can also, if you got a case of a single person with a house, an in-law apartment, they can move into the in-law apartment and rent out the whole house.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
So, it's,
I'm just trying to make a point.
yeah, I know.
I'm not changing anything here.
I don't think you're gonna change the demographics of Litchfield by doing this.
No.
I don't really think so.
We will see.
And
Won't we?
there's a lot of places in town that you couldn't do it anyway. Like, none of the 55 and over could have it done.
Right. Which is most of our town, so I guess we're fine.
And a lot of the condos can't have it done, the townhouses can't have it done, the apartments can't have it done.
We're primarily a town of single family residences.
There's quite a few, yeah, but I'm saying that there's not enough space to do them too.
Yeah.
So,
I got
it's not gonna
space.
be everybody on the bandwagon.
I'm done. Next.
Were there any edits?
I'm seeing myself moving into a nice new 750 square foot unit. Renting out my house.
I'm moving in. Let me tell you what I'm doing.
Fresh paint on the walls, nice clean carpet on the floors.
I'm starting a fraternity in one of them. That's what I'm doing.
10 guys moving in.
Joan's gonna be like,
Sign me up.
there's 15 guys living in 700 square feet. It's just bunk beds.
Well, you can,
Just so I can say, I told you. And I'm gonna use all the town resources. We're gonna
Give
ride
away
our
beer cans to the
bicycles. Let me
dump.
tell you, we're gonna ride our bicycles together on Albuquerque. So we can't all be on that bike path. We're gonna be in the road. I know how all of you feel about that.
No, but make sure you stop at the stop signs on your bicycle, please.
We'll think about it.
So is this another one of those line items that has to be,
So this one would have to go to, if there are no edits, it would need to go to hearing. And Joan, do we have any applications on the horizon that we need to like block off that you know of?
Still waiting for that one, Condex conversion, and I didn't hear back from them. That's the only thing I have.
Okay. So in theory, we could take the first meeting in December for a hearing.
Sure.
That works. Okay.
It's not you anymore, right? You weren't gonna handle this section anymore. I won't. There's not much I can do to you on the next one. I promise.
Well, if this,
Kevin.
I would say if this one, if you want to send it to hearing, you could make a vote now to send it to hearing, and if
Which
you
one are
want
you talking about?
accessory dwelling units, or you can wait and do it all at the end.
any comments?
wait, do it all at the end?
Do we have a lot of people show up for these hearings?
Depends on what's on the agenda.
Sometimes we have one.
There's usually one,
One?
guaranteed.
We've had, what, 15 at one?
Multifamily, you had quite a bit.
Yeah, multifamily had quite a few. But that was about the biggest crowd.
Yeah.
I'm saying if that one person brings up a showstopper of a point.
I won't show up.
I think Matt has tested us.
Yeah.
I think Matt has
Yep.
successfully
very good
tested
point,
us.
But I'll come back with more research though.
That's a good
You
point.
can. So do you want to wait on this
Oh no, I mean
so you can do more research?
I'm gonna defer to the board.
Keep it all together, so,
Why not just wait and do it all at once?
yeah,
Okay.
good idea.
Nonetheless, ultimately, there needs to be a motion to send it to hearing. It doesn't need to be right now.
Do you want to
Do them all at
allow Matt an
once.
opportunity to do more research and bring more?
Oh no, if you guys want to make a motion, that's fine. I can always abstain.
I'm not uncomfortable with where it is as it is right now. I'd be comfortable making the motion to send this to public hearing. Do we have a date for the public hearing?
Well, do you want to take this to December, or do you want to do this sooner?
Do we know what the first date is that we can do a hearing?
I don't have the Senate Bill 2.
Gotta pull up the calendar.
I don't have that with me. Because you have to be so many days to town meeting now,
Yeah.
right?
I printed it.
Can't do it way ahead.
My desk. Darn. How about you guys go ahead and work on the zoning district one with Cassie, and I'll look up this calendar. Okay. The dimensional requirements.
For this one, we just created a header, a section for the dimensional requirements table, so we could reference it all throughout the document. And then for the rest of the changes, we just referred to the section instead of the table to make it a little bit more clear. So on page 2, under lot requirements, on page 3, under 527 and 602, and then it's basically the same thing throughout the whole rest of the document, just referring to the section.
I didn't have any questions on this one.
Those the only
This is
changes.
probably the most straightforward of all of
Yeah.
them.
I'm just curious if we've had any feedback from Kevin Lynch, the building inspector, the code enforcement officer, the guy who
No.
uses this document regularly, if he has any input.
Do you know if he saw it?
I included him on the, site.
Yeah, so he would have.
Should have seen it,
Seen
but
it.
I'll check with him.
Does he remember that this closed the loophole that he loved so much?
We didn't discuss
Remember?
that. Yes, we didn't discuss that.
You know what?
We didn't discuss that.
The only comment he's brought up to me is the fact that a lot of people do have questions about it and of trying to find things. They don't wanna,
On the table?
the table is not it's not listed out in every
Oh.
section like it used to be.
But
Didn't
now
we-
it says refer to the
It
section.
says refer to it and
Yeah.
they just don't get that.
So nice though.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
So
And
easy.
Kevin agrees it is nice.
That's what I was hoping to hear.
Yeah, and has been asked to go to a couple of the boards and explain why it was done and how you get to there now. Called read.
Yeah, it's called C section 310,
Yep.
which is just a table.
I think that it's like anything else, just getting
Just
people to
getting
get used to it.
Yeah, it's just getting used to it. Once you actually like process it, it's pretty straightforward.
I mean, I like it better myself. Everything is there in one place.
Yeah, I agree. I like this a lot better than the way it used to be.
Especially before it was all written out.
Yeah.
And spread all over the
You can
place.
tell at a glance what your requirements are.
Mm-hmm.
So is this another one that we want to move
Send
to
to
public
hearing?
hearing?
They'll have to go to
I see no reason not to.
Can I ask one question though, just for my own clarification? 50202, you had setbacks, now it's grandfathered structures. Looks like you took the word setback out of there. But the rest of them all the rest of them say, additional requirements within setbacks. All the rest of them say the same thing following it. So I just don't know if residential district is different, should be handled differently.
This one here.
Mm-hmm.
The title was different. The section, the content was different.
Oh, okay.
Like if you do 602.01, you have
So it's
additional
actually about
requirements within
grandfathered
setbacks.
things.
You refer to all the, the following ones,
Mhm.
but maybe you should do it here, I just want clarification.
For 50202, the content's a little bit different than the other ones, and it refers specifically to
Oh, it's correct. this way.
grandfather. Yep.
Just making sure that it's consistent. Okay.
Looks good to me.
The heck of the calendars.
Do you have any questions?
No.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I see no reason not to take these changes to public hearing.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Second.
So, hang on, which, are you talking about section 300 and accessory dwelling, or which ones are you talking about?
If I can put both into the same motion, I'd like to just move all that.
Ooh, I don't want to second that. I unsecond.
Unseconded.
So are you moving that both of them be placed?
I am.
Seconded.
Are we waiting
Sorry,
on a
Matt.
date? Are we waiting on a date?
Just waiting on a date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So oddly enough, neither OEP's or the municipal association's calendars post the first day that you can hold a hearing,
I saw that somewhere,
but their calendars start in November. So I would have to look it up if it was
printed that out.
There is a first day to accept petitioned zoning amendments, but this is not petitioned, this is the board.
So if we go the end of November, the beginning of December,
You have to be, you can't be too far away from town meeting date.
right,
They changed that.
Right. So November 16th would be after the first day to accept petition zoning amendments. 674,
Do we
5,
have to determine
674.
a date to agree on the motion? To vote on the motion?
Yeah,
It's generally good.
yeah, you gotta set your hearing on a
670.
date and time certain.
3, let's see what we got. Open.
you can see Christmas doesn't interfere this year. This is the week before.
Trying to find 675.
Google sent Bill 2 cases of that.
We've never been in the position where we could say, how soon can we do the hearing?
Yeah.
So, normally you just go December, we're good.
It's working to the last possible minute.
Yeah,
So,
when did we
this is a
say
first.
at the first opportunity? First
Well,
date?
I think we are required for a date and time certain, right?
Yeah,
It's
Do
good.
we wanna peg December 6th, the first meeting in December, as our date and time for public hearing?
It's not a bad option.
Gives us time to bundle any other stuff in and still have proper notice.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know at the next meeting, there's something I wanna bring before the board that may require a public hearing as well.
Okay.
So I amend my motion to set the date and time, the date of the hearing as December 6th, 2016.
Re-seconded.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Aye.
501.
So that was the 2 zoning amendment
Yes.
items? Okay, and then what about your site plan item? Site plan regulations?
Oh, yeah, we didn't make a motion for that yet.
No.
Make a motion, we schedule a public hearing for the site plan regulation, amendments for December 6th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We,
Opposed?
which one are these for?
This is for the site plan.
Site plan regulation amendments. Basically striking non-residential areas, like the first item that we went through earlier this evening.
Oh, okay, I can go with that.
That's all right. Thanks.
Again, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Passes 600.
All right, good.
Okay.
Bow on that.
The next item coming up is the budget for next year, 2017. Have you all had a chance to look at it?
Yes.
Yes.
Couple of changes I would like to make. I would like to increase the amount for the seminars up to $400 because we have new members that are interested in the training. And we've already overspent the $250 for this year, so. And does anybody feel a real need for the RSA book?
No, I haven't had a hard copy of that in a couple of years, and I don't miss it.
Do you wanna keep it at the 3 copies that we have now?
I think we've only been ordering 2.
2, okay. It said 3 here, I believe.
$308, yeah.
Actually, you know what? Next year, I'm not going to be serving on this board, so whomever replaces me may want a hard copy.
Yeah, well,
Might be wise to keep a copy or 2 in the
well,
budget.
yeah,
I keep a copy in the office, and then usually we keep a copy in the,
yeah, cause the budget calls for 3.
the budget calls for 3?
I should have annotations in the books and all of them.
Yeah, 3 at $8,
All right,
so that's $24, so that, we can leave that as it is.
okay.
Just a quick note on the books.
Yep.
wanna share with them what you found out about the books
I just
versus
learned
on?
this on Monday. The books have the annotations, while online doesn't have the annotations, just the bare statutes.
So there is some value to having the Dead Tree edition in your hands.
Yeah, and the annotations are summaries of case law applicable to each of the statutory provisions.
Is it strictly the case law?
The annotations? Yeah.
So with the possible exception of Matthew, how many people have cross-referenced the case law against the actual
Probably
document?
Mike. Or other legal.
Probably more so
I knew I
than me.
shouldn't have asked.
Well, I have 4 of them at my house.
Yeah, but they're not all up to date.
One, yeah.
Case law can be very enlightening, actually, if you're trying to get to the intent of something. You might be surprised. You might enjoy reading it.
I've been to law school.
If anybody wants it, I have no problem buying them.
Well, it sounds like at least 2 people would be interested in them, so I'd say stick with it.
Yeah.
And it's $8 per copy.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is just to know that you have 1 or 2 around that you can access if you need it.
But basically, right now, Joan has one, Kevin has one, and we have one that can be accessible for the meetings. Or if somebody wants to do some research, they can just get in touch with Joan and borrow it. So,
Sounds good.
we'll leave it at 3.
Can I have one?
For $8.
I got the money right here.
I think we just upped the budget.
Do you want one, Matt?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
I can just come down here and take a look at theirs. It'll be alright.
Can we add a line item in here to use the city's jet?
Yeah.
Fuel costs, pilot costs.
Does anybody see anything else that should be adjusted? I'm not sure 400 is enough for training. Joan, what did we spend this year for training?
I don't think it's been that much because, just the municipal law.
This one was 300
Yeah.
for that, and we had the other 2 seminars, or were they free?
Which, did you go to some?
There was one previously since I.
Yeah, the one
Been on the-
you and I went to, Ken.
That was free.
That was a free one, okay, never mind.
Pipelines? The
Yeah.
pipeline one, right?
No, I mean the one in,
No.
That one
Okay.
might not have been free. That one I don't know.
OAP's usually what, like 60, 70 a person?
it's the one down the south end of town, downtown, at the hotel. In Concord.
Concord, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a charge for that, I believe.
yeah.
So maybe we should go 500?
Sure, if people willing to go to the seminars, it's worth it.
Yeah, and it, it's something we can, after people are brought up to speed a little bit, we can drop it back again.
We do have a few new members, and we'll have at least another new member next year when this budget kicks in.
Right.
So it'd be wise to have
Yeah,
a good amount available for training.
yeah,
So 500 is what you.
500 for that, yeah.
Yeah.
And everything else will stay the same as posted on this.
I hadn't heard that you were considering leaving.
My term expires in March at town meeting, and I have other things that I should be doing that I'm gonna start picking up.
We'll be sitting over there in the corner.
Some nights.
He can't leave us.
The crushing burden of responsibility has forced me to crack.
Wait till you're retired. It's even worse. Anything else for the budget?
I'm a little disappointed in the corporate jet thing, but
Nah, that's
I'm good.
tough to.
There would have been some pushback on the limousine rides to and from.
Could I have a motion?
Motion to move the budget to the Board of Selectmen, is that what you're looking for?
As
As amended.
amended.
As amended.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Passes 6-0.
So I will be available to go through the meeting with the selectmen
Yep.
if they have any questions on this.
Right.
I can explain the training because of the new members and
Yep.
everything else is as,
Yeah, and I'm
As
hopefully
they'll
gonna
see.
see Troy tomorrow,
okay.
so he's abreast of it.
Good.
Okay, master plan updates.
The sections that we've updated so far is the natural increase in migration with new census data. Age distribution, we have a new graphic for that. Also did housing supply, housing tenure, and we have another table on housing stock now too, and I think that's everything we've updated so far. Newly.
Since the last time this draft
Yeah.
was here. Same as last round, just a new chunk of sections have been updated with data items.
New data.
Good work.
Hmm?
Good work. Great work. Only 1 million more pages to go.
Keep picking a few sections at a time.
Yeah, that's great.
We're getting there.
Now, do you have goals you do have goals and stuff at the end of this one, so I think the behind the scenes homework for you all is to start thinking about the end of this document. Wait. Oh my gosh, your recommendations are only a half page. It's not horrendous, I suppose. To start thinking about the squishy stuff, which is the conclusions and the recommendations, the policy setting elements of the document. We can keep plugging in data items, but the policy direction is gonna ultimately come from you. So those are the things to just start thinking about in the background.
Are there specific sections you'd like to draw our attention to?
It'd just be the last couple pages that are the ones that'll need to be updated, but I think to a certain extent, you're probably gonna wanna see all of the data or most of the data,
To get a clear
beforehand,
picture of
to get,
what
yeah,
it
to
is
get
we
that.
wanna go with from there.
On the other hand, I think we all just generally know where we are, so I think you'll be able to look at the recommendations and have some feel for what you want.
Are you looking for something from us on this one?
If you have feedback, we love feedback, but if you say it looks awesome, we like that too.
It looks awesome.
Another well done
So
job.
far, so good.
Okay, we all set with that, Jen? Yeah, okay. Any reports from committee? Mike, do you have anything?
Just one thing. I got a email from Gene Porter, who's the chair of the Lower Merrimack River Local Advisory Committee, of which I sit on, as representative for Litchfield. The committee is actually looking for more, maybe another person to serve. They're looking for 2 individuals from the town. I know I may have mentioned this some time ago, but again, I think, I guess Chairman Porter just wanted me to reiterate to this board and to the public, if anyone is interested in becoming or wanting to serve as a member on the committee, you can go to I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jen, I think it's the DES website, I think, the Rivers Management Program, I think you can pick up an application there, or on the NRPC website, I
Correct.
believe.
Yeah, we do maintain a page for
For the
each of
Merrimack
the, Yeah, we have a page for the Lower Merrimack and the Sauhegan.
So if anybody's interested, I'm offering this to the public, offering this to the board. If anyone's interested in would like to serve on that committee, along with myself, you're welcome to. I'm just opening it up to people. So that's just I'm just the messenger here. So you know.
Would you be so kind as to describe what your role and responsibilities on that are?
Our role and responsibilities are, what we do is generally, the role of a committee member is to review permit applications that come in through the Department of Environmental Protection. If there is any building within a quarter mile of the corridor of the Merrimack River, and it can be in Litchfield, it can be in Merrimack, Hudson, or Nashua. Those are really the main sections. Then they have to submit or they have to appear before the Lower Merrimack River Advisory Committee, and the committee would review their permits to see that everything is in order, and if everything looks good, they'll make a recommendation. It's really an advisory capacity. We are not a regulatory board. We merely advise the department. It also applies as well to local projects as well. For a while now, we've been trying to focus on especially in the different towns like Merrimack and Litchfield and Hudson and well, the city of Nashua is a little different, but those projects that may have an impact on the river front would probably come into play. So we try to get the developers or whoever to come in and talk with us and see if we can make any recommendations to them. So that's basically what the purpose of the committee is to do.
Thank you.
I should say it's one of the purposes. So our enabling legislation also, and it is by statute. So what basically happens is if you want to become a member, your name will get selected. You'll get it'll be selected. You'll get information from DES as to a certain appointment, and then I think the Board of Selectmen would have to approve you for the town, and then you get a letter from Burwack or whoever at the Department of Environmental Protection, basically saying that you are a member of the Rivers Program. That's basically it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Just one note, tomorrow is the quarterly meeting for the commissioners for the NRPC in Merrimack. You gonna be able to make it, Mike?
Well, I have a conflict, actually, unfortunately. I don't think I am going to make it. Yeah, no, sorry. I won't be there for that one. So,
If
unfortunately.
anybody else would like to come, they're welcome to. It's 7 o'clock.
I've got a conflict.
Yeah, you always have conflict.
See?
Yeah. Nothing else appearing. Minutes for September.
I had two questions on the minutes.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. Motion to accept the application was made by you? No, right?
To accept?
Yeah.
Was it?
No, I didn't make it.
No.
You did make that. You remember, John?
It was it Russ?
Russ seconded it.
Did I second it? And he made or did I make it? Someone, not you made it. That's question number one.
I don't recall.
I
Anyone
have
know?
the notes on that so I can check.
Okay, and then the other thing that I noticed that seemed to be missing from here, that was of note to me, was the agreement from the applicant to put in sidewalks all the way out to Page Road and around the circle.
Excuse me.
Out.
They were gonna do the full circle
Yeah.
and then out to Page Road.
Yep, and that is captured
Oh,
in
on
the
the
motion.
multifamily, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. If you get onto the motion, the conditions of approval, it's included there. It's number 8.
Oh, yeah, extend.
Oh, sorry, I missed it. Never mind, we're good. I read it like 3 times looking for it too. And yeah, there it was.
I've done that myself.
Otherwise, looks good to me.
So based on the fact we don't have, we have an outstanding question on who offered or seconded the motion, what
That
should we
would
do?
be cut from her notes, so
So,
that'd be amended in the draft.
So we should defer this
Just
to the
defer
next
to the next
meeting.
meeting.
Just try to recall at the next meeting what it was that hung us up at this meeting.
I've just been the ultimate rain cloud today.
who's that pig pen who walks with a big cloud
I
along
think
with
he was the one that made the
Like
motion.
ruined the whole meeting. I'm so sorry.
I didn't make the motion.
I'll take next meeting off.
No, it's my turn next week.
Oh, okay.
Any other business this evening? Okay, next meeting will be on October 4th.
Is there the best management practices for groundwater protection?
I just threw that in
Yeah,
because,
just informational for you.
Okay.
informational.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn if you'd like.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? Passes 6-0-0.